What's up, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is October 26th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are subscribed to the channel, really appreciate you. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead, click the subscribe button, click the like button on this video. Today we're going to talk about the price action from today. We're going to go into some of my trades. I traded this ticker BKKT and ripped it for like an 80% gain overnight. So pretty cool stuff. Very rare that happens, those kinds of opportunities. Let's dive into it. Before we jump in, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account to any one of my trades or anyone's trades for that matter. Always trade your own plan. All right, let's dive in. And we will start with our box scores, indices. Let's check them out. And the future is just open for trading, which is awesome. Okay, box scores. S&P 500, our SPY, finished up the session 0.09%. We have the NASDAQ QQQ finishing up 0.31%. IWM small caps, our biggest loser on the day, finishing down 0.75%. Then we have the Dow Jones closing down 0.01%. We had volatility advancing in all of these sectors. You can see that in this volatility column. And then breadth was, very mixed. It was up more on the negative side, as you can see here, but it was not horrible breadth. So overall, this was a very odd session in that, in the beginning of the session, it was like, oh my gosh, everything is just ripping higher. It's all going up. Tesla's ripping, markets are ripping, NASDAQ is up. It was just like that euphoria. And for me, it was pretty obvious to see, like, this is, the market's literally going crazy right now. Let me just move this back. Market literally going crazy. So I took that opportunity to sell into the market strength. Let's take a look at these indices. So S&P 500, we hit our target level of 45.90. We hit this R1 pivot level. And look how far the S&P 500 has come. I read a stat this morning that we were on the longest winning streak, and I guess the streak is still alive actually for the S&P 500. I believe it was 9 consecutive days of gains for the S&P 500. So when that happens, it's very interesting how the psychology of the market changes. During this 6-week corrective sequence, it was like, oh my gosh, the market's never going to go up again. Then once you experience 9 straight up days, even the slightest bit of a pullback can really take you by surprise, catch you off guard, even though it's really just the smallest little pullback. So yeah, we hit our target level, and I had in my mind set up that, once we hit that level, I've been talking about it for a couple days, that's where I'll take some profits, take some risk off the table. Because look how extended we are from this 20-day simple moving average, our pink line. If we were to get a pullback to that, even a pullback to this 10-day EMA, that could be a great opportunity, to add to new long positions. But in order to add to positions, you've got to take some positions off. And this is where we're currently trading. The futures just opened up. Looks like we're pretty much trading flat. Hourly chart. Let's check it out. So we have this red line is our prior all-time high level. And this right here is our weekly value area. If we were to get some sort of a deeper pullback, let's say it's just a little shallow pullback, let's shake the tree a little bit. We've been talking about the past couple days, nobody's really buying put options anymore. Sentiment is much more elevated, positioning is much more elevated. In that kind of environment, you can get the little tree shakes. Even if you're in a really nice trending market, if we were to get a little shake of the tree, a little mini shakeout, mini dip, could we get to this 45, 46? Absolutely, that would be a great spot. For me, if we test that and the market acts well, to actually add some risk. So yeah, market overall looks pretty fantastic. My trend model is at a +3. Earlier in the session, it actually flipped to a +1. And by the close of the day, looking good. All right, let's go over to our NASDAQ. And I'm going to be appearing on a Twitter Spaces tonight at 8. So I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible. NASDAQ, we tested this top of value and we failed at that level. So yeah, it makes sense. You know, NASDAQ has come a long way. We still have these inflation fears, still have these tapering fears. It makes sense that, you know, some players would be like, hey, I'm going to take some profits here. So again, you know, nothing yet that's too alarming. The only thing that is kind of alarming actually is we tagged the top of value and we actually fell back below this monthly points of control. So if I was long the NASDAQ, I would say that's definitely some reason for pause where, you know, failing at the point of control, this is where the majority of transactions in that prior month occurred. So it's a really nice, you know, bullish or bearish line in the sand, and we couldn't close above it. Russell 2000. This was our biggest loser for the day, down 0.75%. But put into context, this was just a pullback to the 5-day EMA. Now we still have this 10-day EMA below us, this monthly value area high right over here. And we're really not as extended in the Russell from the 20-day moving average as we are in some of the other indices. So it's very important to keep your composure and keep your big picture context. Like a market dip of like 0.3%, 0.5%, so long as your risk is in control, you know, it's not really a big deal. It's really just, you know, the market goes up and the market goes down. On our hourly chart, we did dip into, this is our weekly, excuse me. We did dip into this weekly value area, so that's definitely, you know, I would not want to see this, you know, just start cascading down below, you know, this weekly point of control here. So yeah, what I'm looking for tomorrow is for us to bounce out, and I actually bought the dip in the small caps today. So let's take a look. Small caps. Now we have our dogs of the Dow Jones. Dow Jones is also almost approaching that R1 pivot level. So it's not abnormal to see a little bit of give back from the highs. Now let's take a look. We'll go under the hood, check out our FinViz heat map. And yeah, so we got to take a look at Tesla. We got to take a look at NVIDIA. Tesla, you know, talked to our members this morning in our pre-market webinar. And basically, you know, I said today's probably a good day to take a target in Tesla, because the interesting stat that I learned yesterday was that Tesla, you know, I've been studying options order flow, its impact on the markets. Tesla had a great breakout, and I'm long this one in the tactical portfolio. So I have a position in Tesla. So I'm kind of talking against my book here, but basically what happened yesterday was a record number of Tesla calls were traded, and about half of those calls were in the October 29th expiration. So really what that signals to me is it's not like, oh, institutions, you know, they're establishing new positions in Tesla. Not really. I mean, these institutions, they've been sneaking into Tesla slowly but surely for the past couple months. You know, even during the 6-week corrective sequence in the market, Tesla was grinding higher. So that's likely where a lot of institutions were getting in. This to me is more so like market structure traders that know we can gamma squeeze this. Let's buy the October 29th calls. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is the speculative portion of the rally. It's not really like the pure fundamental portion of the rally anymore. And sure enough, we ended up topping out at around 1094, super extended, and we ended up getting the reversal in Tesla. This was another thing. I saw Tesla getting weaker throughout the session. I was like, okay, this is probably not a day where I want to be taking on incremental risk, just because you have the market leader that's really starting to fall apart. Some other leadership stocks that were very weak. We had Upstart down 9%. It's a pretty big down sequence right there, and it's coming on high volume. We closed below the 20-day moving average, and we managed to remain above this monthly point of control. So not all bad, but this is, you know, not really what you want to be seeing in the leadership stocks, like high volume, you know, double-digit percentage sell-offs. Cloudflare, which I am currently short. Cloudflare down 2.14%. This one pretty much remaining buoyant, trading down to the 5-day EMA and finding some support. This Asana is another, you know, leadership stock, ridiculous valuation on this company, and this one also down 7.79%. So these are just some little things I look for, little tells in the market. I just say, hey, some people are taking some profits on these companies, and rightfully so. We have the Fed meeting I believe it is next Wednesday. Yep, yeah, it's next Wednesday. So if they say something that's a little bit hawkish, maybe rates rise a little bit, why not take profit on some of these names that are trading at these, ridiculous valuations? 10-year Treasury is getting their little bounce, but we are undeniably in a downtrend in these 10-year Treasury futures, and that means we're in an uptrend in yields. All right, let's take a look at some of these sectors, and then we'll really quick talk about earnings. So sectors. Big loser for today was K-Web, and you'll see I actually hit out of my K-Web exposure. It's important to not get married to any of these themes. Closed my K-Web out for a nice winner. Ended up trading down 5.45%. This was another indicator to me that the market might be a little weak, a little suspect today. Was that last night I saw a headline, the CCP injected 200 billion yuan into the economy. And when I checked this morning, I always check, and I share this data with Pristine Capital members, what are US markets doing? What are European markets doing? What are Asian markets doing? It's really important to look all around the globe. I saw despite that crazy liquidity injection, Chinese stocks were down overnight. So I was like, okay, these Chinese stocks, they might be a little sus. I ended up hitting out of all my Chinese exposure today. What else was there? What was the big winner? Yeah, big winner was transports. Transports were up 1.25%. UPS reported strong earnings. Then we had retail down 1.99%. More emerging markets down. Yeah, not really that many big winners other than the transports. Let's pull up the trannies, and then we will also, yeah, transports well off the highs. These are kind of going parabolic, so this isn't where I'd want to add a position. But UPS, look at this, a really nice day. Reported earnings, and this could set up a power earnings gap trade. So definitely will have this one on the radar for tomorrow. But this one also, yeah, trading out to a new high. It's not bad. UPS looking very solid. Style factors, we had the international momentum actually up 0.18% on the session. Worst performers were the cyclicals. Yeah, cyclicals just got absolutely smoked. And then we had quality down 0.27%, size, which means the small caps, down 0.29%. But overall, no real carnage, just kind of some mixed action with these style factors. Let's take a look at some of my trades for today. I have so many trades from today. I'll just give you the overall themes here. So first off, I got to talk about this one. BKKT, I closed this position out in the pre-market for $43.23. Yesterday, I bought this at 3:45 p.m. for $25.09. So I made, 80-90% return on this position, really just holding it overnight, exiting in the pre-market. What I saw with BKKT was this morning I started looking through the investor deck because I was like, hey, this thing is up like 100%. Is this something I really want to hold on to or what? So I was like, I actually need to learn about the company and the fundamentals a little bit more. When I learned about the company, I was like, this is very interesting. But when I started looking at the valuation embedded in their investor deck, I was like, I am selling this thing today. So BKKT traded all the way up to $55 last night. And then this morning, I noticed it started to fade in the pre-market. It went from like 50 overnight, 55, started coming down to the 40s, and then the mid 40s. So when I saw the investor deck and then I saw the price action, I was like, why don't I just get out of this thing for like an 80 or 90% winner? If it goes up, who really cares? I'll just take the win. So I closed out of that at 856. And this thing ended up plummeting throughout the day. So now that it's down 22.29%, if this thing keeps, flopping over, I'll actually be interested in, reinitiating this position. So yeah, that one just worked out very well. And then what else did I do? So that was at 856. Let's flip over to my options trades. So at 933, I noticed that weakness, in the Chinese assets. And so I closed out my Alibaba December calls for a nice winner. Closed them out for 1562. I paid $13.54, and this was one of my bigger positions. And I'm glad that I just triggered on it. Boom, I'm out. I wasn't stubborn. I wasn't gonna like wait until I broke even. I wasn't gonna wait for it to literally like go back to my cost basis. Basically, what I'm saying. Alibaba ended up, trading much lower throughout the session. So I exited very close to the open right here, and then we pulled back all the way to this monthly value area high. So now, if I'm interested in getting back into Alibaba, I'll have a better price. So it just works out. Yeah, that was one of my largest options positions. I closed out the remaining third of my HUT for 93 cents. Oh, I actually put 93 bucks. That is not correct. Closed out of it for 93 cents. I'd paid 75 cents. And then what I did was I diagonalized my K-Web. And then as I saw the price action continue throughout the session, I just closed out of my K-Web. So closed out of it for $6.06. I had paid $5.09. This was at 11:16 before these things really took a bath. So basically in the morning into the speculative fervor, I was closing out, positions. And what else did I do here? I closed out my pins for a small loser, closed out for $1.14. I had initially received the credit of 97 cents because I was like, in this, market with how frothy things are, no way I want to have any sort of losers on my book. And then at 11:31, that was really the last thing I did. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep it cool throughout the rest of the session. Sure enough, after 11:30, that was where the market, really started to spill. So we had S&P 500 nice, and we're pumping overnight. Let's go. So yeah, we pumped. Yeah, really up until 11, and then after 11, that's where we started to fade. Yeah, so close those out, and then what I did was, hey, I got off the desk, I went for some lunch, and at that point my trend model had flipped from a +3 to a +1. I was like, I'm just gonna keep it cool, because this is the nuance. I'll leave off with this. It's very easy to make money in an up tape in a speculative environment, especially if you're an options trader. You can just let it fly. The most important thing though is how much of that money are you going to keep when the market pulls back? Most traders, they make a bunch and then they just give it all back. So to me, this was my day of, I'm putting money in my pocket. So I ended up closing the day off with a much larger cash balance than I had coming into the day. A lot of the leverage was taken out of my portfolio, monetized, some winners, and I'm still net long the market because my trend model is at a +3. So hey, I'm still long, I'm still going to participate in the upside, but I'm not going to be as aggressive at this juncture as I was, a couple percentage points ago in the indices. And then what I did was, into the close at 345, I got long some IWM November 19th 228 calls for 434. So yeah, that was really only aggressive trade I did really into the close after the dip. And then what I did, ENPH, this company reported really strong earnings. I got long some common shares in the after hours market. A lot of these companies, they're just reporting meh earnings. ENPH really stood out to me because they had a nice earnings beat, nice sales beat. They're in the solar sector, which has been showing momentum. Yeah, so I took a small position in this in the after hours. I might end up adding to this position tomorrow or even the following day if it turns into a peg setup. That being said, that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had an awesome trading session. Definitely tune in for the Twitter Spaces tonight at 8 o'clock. I'll see you all then.